Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the A to B podcast, your number one source for military entrepreneurship and entertainment, guys. We have today probably the closest thing that we can get to an active duty Marine that can say whatever the hell is it that he wants. But first, like always, I am here with my co-host, Barry Bull. What's up, Barry? Why are you always dressed in black?
Because my favorite color is red.
Is that what it is? It really shows, because your face is like red. Have you been to the beach?
Well, I did go to the beach, Albert, but there was only men there.
Oh, that's what it was.
I'm not single, so it was just a bunch of guys. It's like, how do I get this?
Speedos.
And exactly, and how do I get this sunblock on, and I'll help you if you help me, and then you can't use your hands, though, so it's anyways, that's a joke.
You sure that was sunblock?
Yes.
Okay, so how you been, man? You been good?
Very good. Very busy. Very good. Yeah, I just took a vacation up to the Central Coast.
Nice.
Went to Cayucas, California. Had a nice little beach house.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Nobody knows the Cayucas. Everybody knows Morro Bay. Morro Bay Rock. It's beautiful up there.
I've heard about that one, but I don't know where they're geographically
It's tucked back. The weather is amazing. And it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Guys, today we're joined by no other than Caden Shanks. What's up, Caden? How you doing, brother?
What's going on? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. So Caden reached out to me, I would say about a week and a half ago, saying like, hey, when you reached out to me, you were probably still active. You were probably in your very last few days as active duty, right?
It was the day I got out. The day I officially,
Wow. So you literally waited till your last day to reach out and be like, I want no evidence that I did this while I was active.
I wasn't even on terminal. How long have you been out for?
Since July 16th, so like a week.
Oh, okay.
We're recording today. Today is the 23rd of July.
Yeah.
Probably by the time that you see this, it's probably going to be a little bit like a month from now, but that's okay. That means we have a lot of content that's still left to be released.
The beard. How do you feel about the beard?
It's the best part about the DD-214.
That's the best part. But I'm proud of you because yours looks good, actually.
Yeah.
You actually have hair on your face. You're not looking over here looking like Patches O'Houlihan.
You look like you're about to go chop some wood in some remote part of some woods.
I expected flannel, an axe. You toss some, prairie woman over your shoulder.
That's why I had to get a haircut. I was looking too much like a lumberjack.
Man.
Everyone's like, I'm not trusting this guy.
You guys, if you can, rate Caden's beard in the comments, 1 through 10. What are you going to give it?
A 15.
I'm gonna give it an 11D.
I appreciate it.
No, it really looks good. I tried a beard thing after I got out. It really wasn't for me. I got this side of my face really itches a lot, so I was like, nah, man, I'm not gonna go through all that.
Well, when
stuff.
you get out, it's one of the most common things. That like people do, because it's like I haven't been able to, grow a beard.
Right.
You know what? As a matter of fact, I want to know in the comments how many of you veterans, after you guys got out, got a beard. Like, I really want to know, because I can guarantee you it's probably about 95% of them that end up getting a beard for no reason. They end up getting a beard. But Caden, let's get back to you, brother. Tell us a little bit more about the reason why you decided to come on the podcast.
Yeah, so, watching different episodes of the podcast, one thing that I love about the podcast is transparency. All right, everyone can be transparent. Nobody's like scared of getting in trouble. It's open. You can talk about some issues. You can talk about problems. You can talk about solutions, the good, the bad, the ugly. Represents the freedom of speech.
He's right. Nobody gets in trouble. We have not NJP'd anybody in the next room.
Nope. Yeah. We have not.
Valerie is the CO, though. Valerie is his wife.
He's my wife.
If it was going to be an NJP, she'd be the one behind the desk with the freaking gavel.
Correct.
Okay.
Valerie, I love you. It's just Barry. Ignore Barry. She sees all the episodes, Barry. She sees all the episodes. Okay, so you wanted. I appreciate you saying that, because that's what we strive for, man. Right. Whether it'll be active duty or whether it'll be, a veterans, we want to make sure that the transparency is there. Obviously, with our active duty folks, they're limited to the amount of things that they can say, not because they don't want to say them, but because they don't want to be in violation, and we don't want them to be in any violations of any social media policies.
Are we too transparent?
I'm sorry?
Are we too transparent? We got some haters out there.
Some people on MCRD might think so.
Oh wow, we went direct right there.
Hey, shout out to the Comstrat director at MCRD. You're probably gonna be seeing this. Just know that I know. That's what I'm gonna say. And then let's move
Wow.
on. Listen, I gotta take a little job. It's the same thing.
I want a career planner. If you're a career planner out there,
I was gonna say that.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Lo siento.
No. I was gonna say that because obviously, as you know, me and Nick Varner.
Nick. I wanted it to be Nick. Nick, we're not going to bring you on here and wrap your underwear around the back of your head, give you a swirly. Nobody would do that. The conversation. We have never brought a guest on here. I'm joking, by the way, Nick. We've never brought a guest on here and mistreated him ever.
No, and that's not the goal. But I spoke with him through DMs. And we resolved it in private, because a lot of senior service members, they don't expect the clap back. The ones that are still active duty, they don't expect the clap back from somebody that is going to unfilter put them back in their place, and that's essentially what happened. But it was really a misunderstanding more than anything.
Yeah.
So we resolved it.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about Nick. I know he's not coming on the podcast.
We love you, Nick. We do want a career planner. Back to Caden.
Yes. So, Caden, talk to us a little bit more about your military career. What made you go into the Marine Corps and not any other branch?
Yeah, so I remember growing up, my stepdad, he was in the Army, and so I always wanted to I wanted to join the Army. And then I remember my cousin came back from Afghanistan in like 2008, 2009, and he was like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "Join the Army," and he started laughing at me. He was like, "Hey, if you give a cook a rifle, he can go throw some doors down." So I was like, cool, whatever he does, I'll do. So then I was like, cool, I'm gonna join the Marine Corps. And so that was kind of the whole plan. And then I started getting good at football. I had a scholarship. I was like, cool, I'm just gonna go play football. And then me and my buddy both got in trouble a lot in high school. And so we were like, yeah, it's probably not best for us.
What'd you get in trouble for?
We didn't really have a filter. And in public education system, they like filters.
Yeah.
And so we were always, now he's a DI actually, which is good. But yeah, so
you got the full filter on him.
yeah.
Where's he at? San Diego?
Yeah, he's
a Marine and a drone.
Yeah. He's actually, we'll talk about that one later. So I wanted to join the Marine Corps. I remember when I was like 17, I was already working out with them. The recruiter said, do not go get a tattoo. So I went and got a tattoo. Which was this one, which was out of regs. And so I went to go back. He was like, sorry, it's out of regs. So then I was going to join the Army. Again, the recruiter pissed my mom off and like lied to her. So she was like, cool, I'll pay for you to get your tattoo removed just to join the Marine Corps.
Let me see the tattoo. Put it there on the camera so that way people can see it. Let's do a close up on that tattoo. Okay, so let me see it. Oh yeah.
What does that say? Does that say?
So it's right here. So you see the crevice
right here.
So it has to be, I think it's like half an inch away from that crevice.
Well, so it was, I just needed to take off like half of it. That was it. And then I was just going to redo it when I got in. But I went back in and they were like, no, we have waivers now. It took 3 months, got a waiver, enlisted, graduated early just to leave sooner.
Yeah. Where are you from originally?
Lubbock, Texas.
Wow. I tell you what, man, the Marine Corps and Texans have a real love affair.
Isn't he like the third guest in a row that we have from Texas?
Yeah. If you're from Texas, show some love in the comments. Drop a comment. My theory is that's why the West Coast is the best, is because of the Texans that joined.
Hey, listen,
100%.
we might as well just move to Texas.
Well, that's where all my exes are. I'm sorry, it's a song. All my exes, anyways.
Okay, so how was your experience in the delayed entry program?
It was honestly really good. I got really close to my recruiters. I had been going there for like a year and a half. So I was pretty close with them, like to the point where I knew the code to the office. I would open the door for them every day.
Oh, wow.
That sounds illegal. It sounds a little
only if they
illegal,
catch you.
I mean, it's crazy. It went full force because then I became like the facility guys for RS.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I better not tell anyone the code. It was like I knew the code. But no, it was good. I was really, really close to my recruiters.
Do you remember your recruiter's name?
Yeah, Staff Sergeant Elliott. Shout out. He's in the band. He's still in.
Wow, he's in the band?
Yeah, he is.
Hell yeah, that's cool, man. Lubbock, Texas, shout out. What is he, still Staff Sergeant?
I think so. It's crazy. He should get promoted.
Well, I mean, but the band is that I don't even know what the promotions are like in the band. What do you got to do? You got to whack the guy playing the clarinet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Blow the tromboner enough, and
And this is why it doesn't have to be the tromboner. It can just be the trombone.
yeah. Sorry, I have word
No,
problems.
never mind. Hey, this is
Wow,
that's
you guys,
okay.
wow.
We just go with the flow of the conversation.
Wow.
Okay. So you had Staff Sergeant Elliott. He blew the trombone. I might have misunderstood you there, but that's okay. So we move on. You went to boot camp. How was that experience?
Yeah, that one honestly wasn't too bad either. Growing up where my stepdad, he was a drill sergeant for the Army, so I was kind of used to it. I was used to getting my room thrown around. I was used to, having to do exercises when you're in trouble. So it honestly wasn't that bad to me. We had social media, so we saw all the videos. So I was like, hey, we're in the videos now. They're just messing with us because they have no time. They just have nothing on their schedule right now. So
Wow, what a
to me, it
difference,
honestly wasn't like, it wasn't too bad. It was just, it was the first time being gone for that long from home. That was pretty much it. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
it wasn't too bad.
When did you go to boot camp? What year?
2018.
2018. Wow, that's not that long ago.
I could have recruited him.
You could have recruited him, but that would have been in Puerto Rico.
Would have been in Puerto Rico. Believe it or not,
He-
I only recruited one white person out of the 73 or 75 Marines.
It's not
that I
because he
enlisted.
doesn't like white people, you guys.
Yeah, it's
He
because it's in Puerto
loves-
Rico.
That's crazy.
He loves them.
Yeah, it's because
But he was in Puerto Rico.
The only white person that I recruited, it was because he married a Puerto Rican chick, and then they moved to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So I only recruited one white person, and I looked at because after a while, in order for you to make recruiting duty like fun,
Yeah.
what you do is like check marks, right? It's like, okay, so what do I need to do? Recruit an actual American, right? It's like as soon as I saw that guy walk in,
He's a real American.
as soon as I saw that guy walk in, I look at the other recruiters. I'm like, he's mine. He ended up being a really good guy, though. He ended up being a really good guy.
Okay.
So and he was from Texas as well.
That's good.
Hell yeah,
So-
dude. He's
That's
like
That's where the best
okay,
Marines
tell
come
you.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what company were you in a boot camp?
Delta Company.
Delta, Dirty D, Disciples of Discipline. Loved it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember showing up to MCRD San Diego? Like, do you remember your Black Friday?
I do a little bit. I just remember like we had seen so many videos of it, and I just remember thinking like, we're in the moment. We're in the video right now.
Yeah. Who's we? Did you ship with your buddy?
No, I was just
Just all the
there's
recruits.
no I in recruit, and so we as a unit, a platoon.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I still remember Black Friday. Remember meeting everyone, and the first thing I remember seeing was that my staff sergeant or the senior drill instructor looked exactly like my stepdad, like to the T.
Wow.
And I was like,
Could that be
I felt at home.
PTSD?
Possibly.
I felt at home.
I might claim that on my VA.
All right. So, what happened? What was it like? Were you shocked? Was it just like mass chaos?
At some point, like, as much as they just kept messing with us, like, I was like, dude, I'm so ready to graduate. Like, I'm ready to have my freedom. I remember looking so forward to going to chow whenever I wanted. Waking up, that was a lie. I was like, dude, when I graduate here, I'm gonna have freedom.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want. I'm not gonna get screamed at. That was also a lie. But yeah, I was just so excited to graduate.
What time of year did you go?
Summer.
Okay.
So
So
I
it was
went in
nice and
June.
hot.
I went in June and graduated in September,
Okay.
which was awesome.
So moving on to your experiences, outside of boot camp, you are a supply Marine, 3043, if I'm
Correct.
not mistaken. So that is supply administration for the ones of you guys that don't know.
What does that mean, though?
So it means that you do all the paperwork associated for the requisitions that are being done through the supply system.
Like orders and
so
stuff?
he works with a system that's called GCSS Marine Corps.
Correct.
Okay.
In the fleet.
Yeah, and the
In
fleet.
the fleet. Like there's the thing about like our job is there's so many different roles that you can play. There's so many different places you can go, and everywhere you go, there's a different responsibility and like a different role there. So
Yeah,
I mean,
anytime-
So you got
somebody
fiscal,
Yeah.
you got fiscal, you can deal with the fiscal, you can deal with, GCSS Marine Corps.
Yeah.
You can deal with like the Oh man, what is this called at the SMU? I forgot the name of it. It's been a while since I've been out already. I'm about to hit my 1 year mark outside of the Marine Corps. But it's like the unit that
DASIF.
Yeah, DASIF. But I'm talking about the specific one that deals with the deployed units, but they're in the rear. Y'all know he was supplied too.
Like
I forgot what it was, but we don't have to. If you remember, let me know. But yeah.
Would you recommend to anybody out there to be supply?
Yeah, and not because like the job is just the funnest thing in the world. I don't know if the funnest, the most fun thing in the world. But you get a lot of good opportunities that you normally wouldn't get, and you're able to literally go anywhere. Like one of the girls that passed away in the Kabul bombing, she was actually a supply. At 3043.
Wow.
And so you have the opportunity to go to literally anywhere, because anywhere there's a Marine, they need a pen, they need some paper, you can go anywhere. So that's
cool.
the good part.
Yeah. So who would you recommend be supply? If they're thinking about joining the Marine Corps, I don't know what job I should do.
Yeah. Really just anyone that actually wants an opportunity to travel. They want growth opportunities, because you can grow fast in the MOS. You can get promoted pretty fast. So I didn't pick the job. I went open contract. The job picked me. But really just anyone who wants the most opportunities in the Marine Corps. I think that and admin, they have the biggest opportunities in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. So like for myself, if you guys are out there, you're thinking about joining the military, or maybe you're even thinking about a lap move, lap moves are something that is not really discussed a whole bunch. I joined aviation. I was a helicopter mechanic. There was only like 3 places I could go. It was like 1 place on the West Coast, 2 places on the East Coast. We didn't have skids in Hawaii at the time, so you couldn't go there. That was it. Yeah. You weren't going all these weird, like offshoot random places. It was these are your few options. So
one piece of advice that I would give to people that are considering joining the military, or the Marine Corps, or the military in general, is keep in consideration the military is going to be temporary. It doesn't matter if you do 4 years, 5 years, or 30 years. It's going to be temporary. So always pick a job that will translate into the civilian world. And supply and distribution, those administrative jobs that everyone likes to poke fun at, or the combat MOSs like to poke fun at as pokes, those people have very transitionable skills into the civilian world to work with places, like starting with good paying positions, Amazon, Walmart, Target. Specifically here in California, you have all of the warehouses over there, like by Menifee, Paris, Moreno Valley. All of those warehouses are in that location.
Yeah, so when you hear supply, you should be thinking about logistics and all things that are involved in logistics, because it's not just moving this box from this point to this point. It's like you said, you were administration. So there's a piece where you have to track that box. You have to print the labels. You have to receive the order. You have to fill the order. There's somebody else putting the stuff in the box. There's somebody else shipping it, delivering it, picking it up, all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff involved, but that's cool, man. So did you like it overall?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I got to do some cool things. It's more than just what people think, especially like in Hawaii, they were getting rid of the AAVs. I was the one that was in charge of making sure that they actually got shipped out to California. So like there's a lot of moving parts that, just revolve that one task.
I'll tell you what we've heard about supply. You're stupid. Yeah. You don't work, and you get promoted easy, and it's scary in a supply battalion because it is a dark hole of weirdness. Yeah. People get murdered. People get...
what happens... What was your last unit? Out of what unit the UAS?
Recruiting station, so Salt Lake City.
Okay, so you were... Okay, but you were still doing supply over there, because they do need supply.
Yeah, I was the S4 chief over there.
Okay, so you were the S4 chief. Yeah. So the reason... did you ever go to any supply battalions?
I was in a regiment.
Oh, what regiment? CLR?
No, I was in Hawaii. I was at 3rd Marine Regiment, which is now a Latour regiment.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. So the reason why I mentioned that is I was at a supply battalion, and I'm going to tell you why you're saying that, because based on my experiences, right?
Yeah.
It's because supply people like to act harder than what they really are.
Yeah.
That's all it is, man. Like they like to act hard, and it's not everyone, right? But I'm not saying that you need to be like super relaxed. But I'm not saying that you have to also be like super, like moto.
Like DI?
It's like, because I've been to both worlds.
Sure.
I've been to the artillery world and I've been in the supply world. And dude, like you need to find that common ground, because you work with civilians. In the supply battalions, you have civilians, and you cannot talk to civilians like you talk to the Marines. And then you cannot just because you cannot talk to them as civilians, that doesn't mean that you need to mistreat or do all this extra stupid stuff because we have to be ready for combat. You see what I'm saying? It's like there's ways to get ready for combat, and then there's ways to get ready for combat. It's okay for you to be proficient at your job, but doing all this extra stuff that some of these supply battalions and some of these supply leaders like to do is completely excessive.
Yeah.
Did you experience any of that?
Dude, my first staff in Seattle thought he was David Goggins. I swear to God, like,
Did he
not
look
even
like
kidding.
David Goggins?
Not even close.
But
like,
you're saying he was
Not even
not.
close.
You're saying he was not David Goggins.
No, like if David Goggins had a lot of cupcakes, right?
Wow.
And so like what I mean, like I still remember I was at PFC, he used to come up to me and he'd be like, "Hey, you don't have a choice, you need to pick one. We're burning 10,000 calories, we're hiking for 24 hours straight, or running a marathon tomorrow. Which one?" I'm like,
What?
who's
dude?
gonna burn 10,000 calories in a day? Like,
Yeah, that's not even.
what
healthy.
do you have to do? Luckily, but then he was like, "Oh, I have duty, I can't go, sorry." But like,
You need to get it done though.
for real, I was like, my first day in the fleet was a 15K hike.
So like when he
Damn.
would come up to you, was he? You said he was a gunny.
He's a gunny
sta-
now. He's a staff sergeant at the time.
Okay, so when he would come up to you and say these things, and you're a PFC, you're like pretty new, right?
Yeah.
What
I was,
went
like,
through your
brand
mind?
New. I mean, I was always like in trouble with this guy, and I never knew why. So I remember always singing like, "What is wrong with this guy?" Like he used to come up to me and he'd be like, "Hey, PFC Shanks, if you fuck up again, you're getting paperwork." I'd be like, "What'd I mess up, Staff Sergeant?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. Just don't let it happen again." I'm like, "What do you want me to do from here?"
Where was this at?
In Hawaii.
Okay.
I
That's
don't know.
weird, dog.
Now he's like a Pokemon catcher, from what I hear. I don't like. He
What
like
does that mean?
collects. I don't even know.
He collects Pokemon.
I was talking to someone the other day about it.
Pokemon, huh?
I was like, "Yeah, he's
My
a
kids like Pokemon.
guy." I don't know what a Pokemon catcher means, but I guess it's
It sounded inappropriate. So I was like, "Damn, dog. Is that like code for like little kid stuff?"
no. And then he used to like force me to like trade in the stock market, and I knew nothing about the stock market. He'd be like, "Hey, meet me at the gym at 4 a.m. and he'd force me to sit there on the stair step or like trade it. He'd be like, "Here, download this app,
Dude.
and then put in money." And then I'm like, "Dude, I don't know anything about the stock market." So I did lose a lot of money as a PFC because I had no clue how to work the stock market.
Listen, dude, if you're a leader, if you're a leader out there, dude, stop. Stop it. You don't need to have your Marines do dumb stuff like that. Take care of them. Ask them about themselves.
Yeah.
Help them be better versions of themselves. Like, let's just say, I don't know, pull-ups and running. Help them get good at their MOS and leave. If you want to be David Goggins, beautiful. Do it on your own
but
time.
one of the examples that I can tell you is, from what it sounds to me, is he had good intentions. Right?
Yeah.
He had good intentions, but he failed at the execution part of the intention.
Yeah.
So, and not only that, I can guarantee you that some of it was also the communication piece of it. Because it's something that supply leaders are super guilty of is when a Marine goes up to them and asks them, "Why are we doing that?"
Yeah.
Would you ask that way if you were in combat? It's
Yeah.
like, man, dude, shut up. Like, dude,
Yeah.
you're not going to get shot at. You see what I'm saying? I've been there, done that. Guess what? I wasn't getting fucking shot at. So relax, bro.
Yeah,
You
bro.
have plenty of time. Even if you were to do this in combat in the job that you are at, you have plenty of time to get to the bunker. You're not, you know what I'm saying?
The
Unless
part
you-
where I laugh is, how would that guy like it if it was done to him?
Well, the reason why he's probably doing it is because
It
it
did.
was done to him.
Yeah.
And then now he thinks that that's the way, because you know how that, you know how it is.
Yeah,
man,
but he's
with
only going to get away with it with a PFC is my point. Period. You know what I mean? Young Marine, right? Would you have taken that? Hell no. Would you take that now?
I did take it.
Hell
No.
no.
I did take it
As a young Marine.
As a young
Yeah.
Marine, yeah.
As a gunny, would you take it?
Oh hell no.
Yeah, that's my point. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna take that as a
Yeah, but
more-
those are usually like the. I'm trying not to cuss, man. I'm trying really hard because I'm trying to use a word that starts with a B and rhymes with ass. Those are the guys because I had
Bass. A bass fish.
Yeah, a bass fish. Yes. So he's one of those guys, man, that would probably try to do like some shady stuff around your back with like the master sergeant, so that way like you can get duty, or like he sounds like one of those people.
He was the type that like he would put his junior Marines on like duty just to make sure another staff sergeant wasn't mad at him or anything like that. Like just cared more about their peers than their Marines, if that makes sense.
That's weird, dog.
Yeah.
See, for me, we always used to get messed with, but where I used to get frustrated was when I'm being made to do a task that really doesn't need to be done. It's wasting my time, and then you ain't gonna let me go to chow because the stuff that actually needed to get done didn't get done. Now I'm looking at you, and I'm a private. I'm like, okay, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's that all about? Now I can't eat because, you know what I mean? You're messing with me over here on some weird stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now the stuff over here that needed to get done, I couldn't even touch it, and now you're making me work until 2000. I don't have respect for that.
So, transitioning on, obviously that was your first duty station, as in Hawaii. You had a bat leader. Which, by the way, if you know who you are and you want to write a message and you want to come here, by all means, if you're here in California,
There's a few of them.
So let me. What I want to know is, you said you were actually in 3 places in your 5-year career.
Yes.
That is not usual.
Not.
So what was your second duty station?
So it wasn't necessarily a duty station, but I went TAD like just by myself to Japan, and on mainland Japan in Fuji.
Okay, so and how long were you there
that's
for?
amazing.
6 months.
Okay, so you were there for 6 months. Okay, I thought you were there longer.
No. So like it wasn't necessarily like a deployment because I didn't go with a unit. It was just me flying out there by myself. There was like 13 of us in that entire unit once we got there from pretty much all over. So no, I was just
Fuji's
there for,
so cool
for a
though,
couple months. Oh yeah, I loved Fuji.
Oh.
I was trying to go back as an NCO. I wouldn't go back as a junior Marine.
Is it true that Japanese people don't like white people?
No, they freaking loved us.
Really?
They're the
I hear
nicest.
they like black
Okinawa.
people more though.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely.
And I'm gonna be racist. I'm not being racist. We've all heard it.
It's true, dog.
We've all heard
true.
it. You see that Japan is the only place
Black
that
guys have no problem getting a Japanese girlfriend. It is true.
You'll see the blackest dudes with the hottest Japanese girls. For some reason.
And respectfully, I just want to point out
Respectfully.
for a minute, I didn't see any hot women there. And I know that's.
No, there's.
I'm just saying, I got really
There's
good
good
eyesight, and I was like, no,
Maybe they're not your cup of tea. I can respect that. You like Hispanics.
I don't mind. But I was like,
Hey, same.
Caden's like, yeah.
So what were you doing over there in Fuji?
So we were with DSC, the support team. So basically, any unit that would deploy out there, we were in charge of making sure that they had all the rifles, all the equipment that they needed, the LEVs, the AEVs, any motor T, heavy equipment. So pretty much just supporting any unit that was deploying out there.
That's what I was saying earlier. It was the DSU at the SMU. So it was the DSU. That's what I'm talking
And
about.
Fuji's cool because it's so small.
Yeah.
Everything is super nice.
Our PFT was 3 laps around the base.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I wouldn't go back as a junior Marine now. I'd go back as an NCO though.
Sure.
100%.
Yeah. And you can go to like Tokyo,
Tokyo was like 2 hours away, $20
in the bullet train.
You can climb Fuji.
Yeah, that sucks.
One of my Marines did, and I actually still have the picture. They found a dead guy.
Jeez.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's up.
You have a picture of the dead guy?
I do. Yeah. Yep. And
That's
the Marines.
crazy.
Yeah. I know.
That's crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
so you come back. Are you surprised by the orders to go to the recruiting station?
No, I requested them. So what happened was I came back to Hawaii. One of my older recruiters, like he was in the recruiting station. He called me. He was like, "Hey man, do you want to come to Salt Lake City?" I was like, "Where's that?" He was like, "Utah." I was like, "Hell no." I was like, "I've never heard anyone be like, I really want to get stationed in Utah." I didn't even know where it was on a map. So I was like, no. Wanted to go to Denver. Someone I worked with, they wanted to go to Denver. So cool. I took Utah, and then the Kabul gate happened. So then I was trying to get orders to replace the sergeant out there that was my MOS in Bahrain, and then they did the withdrawal. So I was like, well, that's kind of pointless. And so then I just executed my orders to Salt Lake City. So I requested them.
Okay, so I'm actually going to Utah in 2 days.
Oh, nice.
That's a pretty fun fact.
It's nice out there, man.
It
Yeah,
is,
I'm going to Zion National Park.
Nice.
But so how was? Because the good thing about supply is that you can get stationed in a lot of places.
Yeah.
But the bad thing about supply is that you also need to learn,
Yeah.
different things and everywhere essentially that you go. So how was that transition going from like a fleet unit, to a recruiting unit?
Yeah, it was a big transition, and part of the reason that I picked that specific one is because I already knew my boss. We already really cool. So I was like, hey, if I'm gonna learn anything new, I want to make sure it's with somebody that I respect, someone that I trust, someone that's actually gonna look out for me, that I'm gonna be able to actually learn from. And so that's why I specifically picked it, because I knew it was gonna be challenging to be able to transfer that over. And so it wasn't too bad, just because he was probably one of the best staff NCOs the Marine Corps had. And so I respect him a lot. And so I made it my entire mission to learn as much as possible so that he didn't have to really do anything,
Okay.
That's good, man.
I feel like that's how it should be. Everyone should try to replace the person ahead of them, depending on who that person is for sure. But him, he was retiring. He was at 20 years, and dude was an old man. We called him Grandpa. And so, I just wanted to make sure that once he left, I was able to take over, completely. And so it was definitely not an easy one, but it wasn't too bad at the same time.
Now, at this time in your career, you're past the 3-year mark. Is it safe to say that you're past your 3-year mark?
Yes.
At what moment did you realize that, you know what, I'm only doing my first contract and then I'm getting out?
So I knew, the whole time in the Marine Corps, I knew I wanted to get out. I knew I wasn't going to do 20.
Really?
Just because there was I know they always say never base your career off your first enlistment. I 100% think you can. I had I had 2 really bad leaders in Hawaii, and so I was like, whatever this is, I don't want it. However, I knew I had no skills. I spent my first enlistment just partying all the time, doing what junior Marines do in Hawaii. Partied all the time, spent a lot of money.
What do you mean when you say party? Give us an example.
We had, there was barracks parties literally almost every night.
Yeah.
We lived in the good old infamous Mackey Hall in Hawaii, which is where all the grunts party at. And so, that's what most.
So what's the
Marines
routine like? You get off work, you go buy beer, or?
We used to drink every single night.
Yeah.
Sometimes during chow, I drink a lot.
Sometimes during chow. Nice.
Yeah. I got that 8214. I can be honest, but yeah.
No,
dude, I appreciate that.
Dude, people used to do it when I first joined. It was very, very common. People had beer in their fridge.
I got to the point, honestly, where I just hated going to work, and so I just chugging 3 beers before I went in. That way, I didn't have to deal with anybody.
Wow. Was that? How do you feel saying that? Is that something where you're like, man, there was something deeper going on, or was it just not really at all deep?
Yeah, it carried over to when I got to Utah, and that's something that I faced once I got to Utah. It didn't change. It just went from 3 beers to a bottle every day.
Sure.
Once I got to Utah, which I don't do anymore. But once I look back and I look at that leadership, I was like, dang, it makes sense. It makes.
So would you say, and it's safe to say that, because of the unnecessary stress that your leadership was putting you through, you were developing alcoholic tendencies?
Oh yeah, 100%. Once that first staff sergeant left and we got a new gunny, dude, we were working from 7 a.m. to 9, 10 p.m. every day. I still remember this vivid conversation. He called this one gunny. She was MMO, and he was like, "Hey, is there an order on how much time I need to give them for chow?" He's like, "I'm telling him 30 minutes for chow, but I don't think they need that long." She was like, "Let him go to get lunch." And he was like, no, what's the order? What's the minimum time I can give him? I'm like, bro.
There isn't one. If you guys are wondering, there is not one.
Yeah.
But an opportunity for chow needs to be there.
Yeah. And so he used to never let anybody, get food. We'd work so after the chow hall was closed. And so, that's even my junior Marines. I felt bad because when I left, I would still reach out to them all the time, and they'd contact me, and the cycle continued.
What could
so
you?
This is something that's currently happening right now.
I don't know at this time. They've all gotten out. They all got out. None of my junior Marines were enlisted.
Okay.
There's a shock. What could you possibly be doing for that many hours? Like, was it actual productivity or?
Yeah. So I mean, I was a corporal at the time. I was the admin chief. I had a sergeant under me, so I used to like babysit him and
That's weird.
Yeah.
So you're a corporal. He outranks you. He does what you say.
Yeah.
Okay, how'd that happen?
He just sucked. Like he was so like when he first came to us, they didn't want him, so they just used to send him TAD to other units. And then finally we got a new gunny. He was like, "No, like I'm gonna deal with it." And so he came back to us. Didn't really like the whole goal was to try to what's it called? It's not RFC. It's like where CRB. There we go. That was the goal.
Competency Review Board. Yeah.
That's just what I was thinking.
That's what we were trying to do because he didn't know his job.
But you know why you can never do one?
Yeah, they never let us do it.
No, because nobody ever does the counseling, right? Because paperwork is the worst thing, and we don't do paperwork and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay,
well, that's what they told
all you gotta
us.
do. You got,
but I'm gonna tell you the reality. I'm gonna tell you the reality of what happens because I used to be that gunny. I hate it when people used to send because that's the easy solution.
Yeah.
Send them to AD. It's somebody else's problem. And then the problem is, okay, well, let's talk about it. Where are we gonna send him to AD? Where he can be the most useless place possible. Yeah. No. Let's send him to the company office. Let's send him to the S3, where now he's in charge of all of our fucking training. That was my problem. I used to fucking hate it. I was like, we're not gonna do that.
You just promoted the guy.
We're going to
give him a better billet.
Yeah. We're going to send him to either, if you want to TAD him, that's fine. But we're gonna send him to where he can be the most useless way possible.
We'll TAD him to the gym.
The gym.
Pass out basketballs.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's honor in that.
But the problem is that the people at the gym, obviously, once they realize, let me extend him, blah, blah, blah. He's going through family issues, blah, 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 whatever. Everyone at the gym is going through family issues. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm just being real, but the problem that happens is that most of those billets is the billets that nobody really wanted, which was like the company office clerks, any of the S positions, some of those things, and that's where we needed the most Marines. I stopped that. I was like, nope, we're not sending him. We're dealing with it. What happened was that whenever I started the counseling process and I started holding the Marines accountable, I want to kill myself. I got to go see the Oscar.
Careful.
I got to go see the Oscar. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to keep going until either you tell me that you cannot do the job or somebody else tells me that you cannot do the job. Until then, you can go to your appointment, but you will either go with somebody and then you're going to come right back. We're going to do something. Mm-hmm. So that way I know exactly where it is that you're at and what exactly is it that you're doing. Not because of the Marine, because it's not fair that the other Marines have to go pick up after your freaking slack. And it's not fair that you're going to get promoted before this Marines get promoted.
Yeah. Or get an award. I used to see it all the time. This kid would go to the S3. Dude, they would love him. They would love him up there.
Yeah.
I did love my Marines at the S3.
Nam. And you're
Shout out to all the S3 Marines.
Yeah, and there's a lot of amazing ones, but like at the same time, sometimes there was and you know what? We're talking about enlisted Marines. You know who does it more than enlisted? In my opinion, it's the officers. Dude, they will tuck you over here, tuck you over there. You're like, where'd this fool go?
One thing too that I noticed, when I was at the recruiting station, is the recruiting officer for the officer, right? What are they called?
OSOs.
Right, the OSOs. They used to literally train the candidates that officers were way above enlisted weren't shit, that you can pretty much just treat them however you want. They started that before they even left.
You heard officers
pretty
say
much
that?
everything. What's that?
You heard officers say that?
So the the OSA, the officer selection assistant, he's the one that would tell me. He's like, yeah, dude,
usually
even the
candidates
treat us like shit.
It's usually a career recruiter.
Gunny Dutton.
No. Well, so for us, the OSA is typically somebody that just hates their life. And because they don't really have a huge objective over there. And then they pretty much go to the OSO and hate it even more. For us, they were never career recruiters. They hated their life. over there.
And
But
it's-
so
I mean, we do come from the I'm spoiled because I was in the best district and in the best recruiting station in the district, which is the 6th Marine Corps district. Shout out to the 6th Marine Corps district. RS for Lauderdale, like always representing. We got Gunny Dutton over there. So
Okay, so what would your OSO tell these candidates
Yeah.
before they even like shipped out?
And keep in mind, this is what I'm told from my fellow peers that work there. But basically, like they would get, the candidates would even like talk down to them, and they were allowed to, because the OSO like pretty much told them, like you're superior, you're above all of these enlisted, and they weren't even officers yet. They didn't even
there's some
swear in.
reality to that. There's some
Yeah.
reality to that because what happened was for us in Puerto Rico, and I'll say this quick story, and then we'll transition to your transitioning to your transitioning, if that makes sense. But what used to always happen is we're in Puerto Rico. So what happened in Puerto Rico is if you scored over 74 and you were enrolled in a four-year college, then we had to send you to the OSO. And if the OSO contracted you, then they had this. Those are completely two different programs, by the way, two completely different programs. But since the OSO was in Fort Lauderdale and we were in Puerto Rico, they would send their applicants to PT with us. And then you can always tell like the areas of superiority with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were above. I'm like, listen here, because I had to put a couple of them in their place, and I was like, listen here. And the problem with that was that most of them were very respectful. By the way, nothing bad to say about them, but there was one specifically. I still remember this kid, man. Airs of superiority, like he was better than all of us and all that stuff, but he sucked at PT, like completely sucked. And then he would try to hit on my female police. And I had to put his ass in his place. Like, put his ass like, listen, I don't give a I'm trying not to cuss. I'm trying, I don't give a flying F if you...
Freak.
Yeah, if you are part of the, officer selection program, you will not come here into this office ever again as long as I'm a recruiter in this office. And then the OSO called me up, and then I was like, sir, this guy's hitting on a 17-year-old. Your 25-year-old applicant is hitting on one of my 17-year-old applicants.
Yeah.
So how do you want to solve this?
Yeah, so what am I supposed to say if I let him keep coming and then something bad happens?
Well, I don't want to use the word keep coming. Let's come up with a different phrase for that. Let's come up with a
Valerie,
different
please
phrase.
help me.
But anyways, I want to go back to you, Caden, because obviously based on what I'm understanding is that you decided to, from the very get-go, you were like, man, you know what? I appreciate my time in the Marine Corps, had lots of fun, but this is not for me.
Right. Okay, hold on though. Was there anything that would have kept you in the Marine Corps ever at all?
No.
Okay, so it wasn't the bad leaders. It wasn't whatever the duty station. Those things didn't help your time, but you already kind of knew this is just a stepping stone for me.
Well, I mean, once I started experiencing, the toxic leadership, and they always just say, "Well, never base it off your first enlistment. It gets better." And I just realized that nobody that was retiring was where I wanted to be. If that makes sense. Like that's not where I wanted to be.
That's a very good point.
And so I was like, I made that decision. I checked my bank account. My bank account didn't agree with my decision to get out yet. So I was like, cool, let me re-enlist. And so I picked a place where there was no base. There was no barracks. I got BAH. I knew I was going to have a little bit more time. Somewhere where I could network. I was more in the open civilian world, which I was in Utah. And so then I just pretty much spent my whole time in Utah focusing on finding a way to get out. Like what was I going to do when I got out? What were my skills? What can I develop? How can I better myself? That way, when the time comes, I can get out successfully. I feel like a lot of people only stay in because they're scared to get out. You have the few that actually enjoy it, which is good. Stay in, do 20, do $1 million, I don't care. But a lot of people are just scared to get out, and that's the reality. And I just remember, especially when I got to Utah, I started seeing all these people retiring, spending a year looking for a job, pulling out their TSPs just to get by when they got out. Literally every single person. As soon as
What does that mean when you said, pull out your TSP? A lot of people don't know what that is.
Yeah, so their retirement plan, right? Their thrift savings plan, just because they had no money to get out. As soon as people hit their 19-year mark, they were dropping that Appendix J. Like, well, it wasn't that good, if
Sure.
you're just waiting for that number mark. And so, they spent 2.5 years trying to convince me to stay in, and, if I did stay in, I would have got selected. I'd probably be a staff right now. It just, I knew that there was more out there, and I was just kind of limited. It was a stepping stone, essentially.
Good. Now, how was the transition process for you? Was it easy? Was it rough? Because obviously I just heard that you started planning 2.5 years out. So, you probably had a good solid plan in place. Was it still easy or was it hard?
So it was easy in a term of I already had a plan. I was financially good. I wasn't worrying about a house, if I was going to be homeless. The hard part was not having any support, if that makes sense. Yes, there's a lot of resources. One, I wasn't on a base, so I didn't necessarily have those resources. Where I was at, nobody got out. So nobody was helping me get out. No one was telling me what I needed to do, how to do it, because nobody knew. And so I was pretty much the guinea pig. And then, the command didn't care. The command hated the fact that I was getting out. And they used to stalk my social media left and right. They used to always pull me in, try to talk to me about every single thing. What
was wrong with your social media?
My social media was pretty much just me talking about how I was transitioning out of the Marine Corps in business, and that you can have a life outside of the Marine Corps. I remember when our major checked in, the first thing he told me was, "You're the guy that posts videos, huh?" I was like, "Yes." And then they did a social media training. They had my Instagram in their government emails and pretended to click the wrong one in front of the whole unit. Which is really weird, to me.
But why would they do that? Was that something to embarrass you or to?
I think so. They used to always talk a lot of shit, especially because I didn't go recruiting. Imagine being in a recruiting command, getting histed and denying the hist, and you're like, hey, I want to get out. Because when you're in a recruiting command, if you're not a recruiter, you're nothing. You don't know what it's like to face adversity. That's what they used to always tell me. They're like, you've never faced adversity.
Yeah.
You never went recruiting. So it was hate from the start. And so luckily I had the mentorship from business. I had the other staff NCOs that got out that were successful in business. I had my old gunny that retired that I was able to call. But the paperwork and the actual process was the only hard part. Everything else was pretty easy, just because I'd spent 2.5 years.
Do you try to do SkillBridge program?
Yeah, so I from the moment I checked in, I said, I'm doing SkillBridge, and I'm going to get out. That was no issue. The issue was my monitor. They sent 2 clerks, and we had our chief, so there was 3 of us. It was a 2-people billet. So the gunny retired. They moved the other clerk to ops, and it was just me. And so they were like, instead of you going on SkillBridge and us putting the other clerk into supply, it's just going to be you, because we don't want to move him yet back to his original job. Which was his MOS, which is crazy. And so, they pulled me aside, and they're like, yeah, we're going to deny your SkillBridge. You're not going to be able to go. Instead, you're going to become the chief, and it's just going to be you for the next 6 months.
So you did not go to SkillBridge?
No, I did not go to SkillBridge, no.
How do you feel about that?
I was pissed. And especially because they tried blaming it on the TO&E. They were like, we're
Hold
under...
on. How pissed off were you? If there was one thing you could say to them right now, and you can, by the way, what would it be?
Oh, they already know this.
But the world doesn't know it.
You know what? No, I'm a saved man. I wish you the best. Right? I'm not gonna say bad.
He's a better man than I was.
They know how I feel.
Okay, but I guess my question is, what would you say? What should they have done, and what would you say to other Marines going through the same thing?
Yeah, so as far as a leadership aspect, you have to understand your Marines are going to get out at some point, right? You can't fuck them over. It's a lot of people say mission over Marines. No, it should be Marine over mission. And the issue was they were trying to blame it on the fact that we didn't have enough personnel, but we did. We did. They just weren't ready to make those decisions yet, those moves yet. They didn't feel comfortable taking me out of that spot yet and putting someone that didn't know the job in there. They wouldn't let me do a turnover. They wouldn't do any of that. They tried denying my terminal. I think it was just more of an edge because they knew I was so excited to get out. They knew I was ready to, and they just weren't ready to let go yet. And as far as any Marine, you know, that's going through, because it happens, you know, I hear it all the time, you know.
Well, I'm shocked that you're giving this testimony right now, because the Marine Corps does not, according to the policies that the Marine Corps is putting in place, the Marine Corps does not have a retention issue, and the Marine Corps does not have a recruiting issue. So I don't know. I don't understand what the problem is, right? I think you're lying, as a matter of
There's
fact,
no
Caden.
problem,
I
Albert.
think you're lying.
Alberto.
No. We brought a liar on the podcast. That's what it is. The Marine Corps Recruiting Command does not have an issue. The Marine Corps does not have a retention issue.
And drill instructors are better. I'm sorry.
The recruiters are going to use that.
That was so out of left field.
Career planner's going to crop that.
Now, I do have a real question for you,
Yeah.
though. Obviously, there's probably going to be somebody from Utah. There is a sergeant major in the 12th Marine Corps District right now that sees our podcast and is looking for the guest, right? Mm-hmm. So that sergeant major, just know that I know, is we should make that into a shirt.
Know that I know.
So just know that I know. He's probably going to send this to the sergeant major, your RS, or the CO, or somebody within the RI team, right? What do you think they're going to say about you if they reach out to us?
They're probably, they'll probably see it first. They probably still watch my social media.
Okay.
I think they would expect it, honestly, because they all know I'm open. I was open to their face. I'm one of those, like, if I'm going to say it on a podcast, if I'm going to say it on video, they know exactly how I feel.
Okay,
we had those plenty of conversations. You know, like I said, 3 days as a corporal, I was in the sergeant major's office with the Marine requesting mass. Like, I've never been afraid of rank or repercussions.
Now, do you feel that the reason why you were so open about sharing that is because you were financially stable and you really didn't care about you getting out, you know, because you were financially ready to take that hit?
Like sharing what?
Like share, because I was the same way. I'll be honest with you, man. I wasn't the same way. At my 5-year mark, I was a puppet because I wasn't scared of speaking out. But every single time that they would go like, shut the hell up, I would, you know, go like a dog that you just hit, you know, and they just be like, okay, I'll shut up, you know, because I'm not ready to get out, because I wasn't ready to get out financially. Me as a gunny, I was a fucking menace, because now my finances were on point, and then now, you know, people didn't hold anything over me. So do you feel that because you were financially ready, that's the reason why you were so open? Or you could have been broke as a joke and you were still being the same, you know?
I was open when I was broke corporal in Hawaii. Because like I said, you know, I had a Marine request mass. My gunny wouldn't do it with him, so I had to do it with him.
Your gunny wouldn't do it with him?
No, so the day he had to go talk to the sergeant major and CO, he was like, oh, I have duty, which was downstairs from the CO's office. And he was like, yeah, I can't go. You're going to have to do it with him. And, you know, I'm 3-day corporal. And so, you know, I kind of knew from the start, like, I'm never going to let somebody's, like, rank or personality, you know, try to belittle me. And so, yeah, I mean, from the get-go, I didn't really care about that.
So they deny your skill bridge, and your message to the leadership out there, as you were saying, is, hey, your Marines are eventually, you know, they're going to get out.
Yeah, no one agreed with their decision. Like, I talked to mass sergeants, master guns, and none of them agreed with it. I talked to the district CO, the district sergeant major. They didn't care.
Really?
Yeah, no, they didn't. I was very open. They were like, "What are your plans? Are you staying in?" I was like, "Oh no, my skill bridge got denied, so I'm getting out." Like, I would just throw those little hints. They didn't care. And so yeah, I mean, it happens more than I think the Marine Corps likes to think. You know, people are scared to lose their Marines. They're scared of that change, that replacement. How long is it going to take till we get another one? But sometimes you just gotta listen to Frozen and just let it go. You know, just let it go.
Now, how has that transition been for you?
It's been amazing though. It's like since getting out, I haven't really stressed about anything other than crossing the border, coming back from Cabo. That was pretty stressful. But like, I haven't been stressed about anything since I got out. You know,
what do you do now?
So now I work in the financial industry. So I just help people when it comes to building wealth, actually managing their money.
What do you mean you help them build wealth? Like, let's be really specific.
Yeah, so it really just depends on that person. So I sit down with that person, I figure out exactly what they're looking for, where are they at, what are the stepping stones that we need to get them to, and then pretty much just bridge that gap. You know, every single person's different. I'm sure we all know, like, the military doesn't really teach us a whole lot of financial education. So most Marines I sit down with, nobody even knows how much they contribute to their TSP. Nobody knows what the actual match is. Nobody knows where the match goes. All right, so the first thing that we always do is just lead by education, and then pretty much figure out where they're trying to go. And then once we figure that out, you know, there's a different thing for every person. So then we're able to bridge that gap a little bit.
Yeah, and most people don't even know that. I used to ask this. I was the command financial advisor for my battalion. I used to ask, okay, so where do you go to check for your TSP? Oh, my pay. My eyes would go like, no, you have to go to the tsp.gov website. Do you have a tsp.gov account? How do I get that? Oh, you know, you have to get a letter in the mail. It's like, where's your letter going? Because if not, you're not going to be contributing to the G fund, and the G fund is not the best fund to actually go to. So, how did you manage to go from Marine to financial advisor?
Yes.
Is that your actual title?
No, we're more brokers.
Financial broker?
Advisors kind of deal with money in the market and typically work for like one specific company.
Okay.
Right. So they're going to take fees or whatever. We don't charge our clients at all. So pretty much while I was still active duty, I was doing personal training at the time. And then I got connected with a staff sergeant that was in Yuma, and he was living the life that I wanted. And we connected. I was like, hey, whatever you're doing, I'll figure it out.
Was it Sean?
Yeah. So
Sean. We've had Sean on the podcast.
Yeah. So got connected with Sean Young, and then basically it was like, hey, whatever you're doing, I'll figure it out.
Gotcha.
You know, and I heard all these stories of these Marines that were retiring their mom in business, whatever the case is. And I was like, hey, worst case scenario, he's a staff sergeant. Like, I can trust him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was still active duty at the time. I Googled what industry creates the most millionaires. It was the financial service industry. And so I ran with it. You know, it was my only option. So
How much money are you making now? A lot?
enough. 6 figures.
Okay.
So I was able to cross 6 figures while still active duty, part-time, which was
Hold
more
on.
than
Part-time, you made 6 figures while you were on active duty.
correct. So
Wow.
however, it sounds easier, but most people wouldn't be willing to do what I did. Like I used to, you know, get up at 4, go to the gym, go work from 9 to 5, typical Marine, but then work business from 5 to midnight.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. They come up, and you did that because that was a priority for you. That's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people come up with a lot of excuses of like, well, I can't do it because I have a family, or I can't do it because I'm in the Marine Corps and I go to the field.
They want to live the life and have the life of the 1%, but their habits are of the 99%.
Oh, 100%.
Correct. You know, and because that happened to me also in real estate.
Yeah.
It's the same fundamentals, man. And regardless of the industry, the fundamental stays the same. Yeah. And there's only one common denominator when you're starting out, and that's you.
Yep.
So you made 6 figures your first year, active duty, part-time. What would you say to other people that are getting out, no matter what their branch is, or no matter where they're at in life, you know, and they hear you say that? You know, who's the right person to get into your industry? Like, is it hard? What do they need to do?
So I don't want to say it's easy, but it's simple. Right? It's definitely simple what we do, and all it literally takes is getting a license from the state that we're in. It's probably the cheapest industry to get licensed in and to start a business in. Not everyone's good for it. You know, to be honest, not everybody is. It takes people that they like actually helping people. They're not money hungry. Like if someone's unemployed, I won't work with them. You know, I'm going to tell them no. I've had unemployed people and they're money hungry. I want people that actually want to help people, that actually want to serve people, that are actually intentional about growth. You know, a lot of people just think I'm supposed to teach them everything in the world and Google doesn't exist. You know, someone that's intentional about growing and has that work ethic. And like we talked about, the mental toughness to actually do what it takes. Because a lot of people want it, but they're not willing to do what it takes.
Good, man. Well, Caden, we definitely appreciate you coming here today and talk to us about your time in the Marine Corps, your transition, the good things that happen in your career, and also the bad things that happen in your career, being super open about it. Brother, where can people reach out to you?
Yeah, so the best way to reach out to me is on Instagram, which is Caden_Shanks, or TikTok, just look at my name, Caden Shanks.
Awesome. Barry, where can people reach out to you at?
You guys know where to hit me up at TikTok at Bull52772. They finally lifted my ban from going.
I know. I can tag you in things now.
Exactly. Instagram at Bull5277. I don't have any other accounts. YouTube, the A to B podcast. The A to B podcast is located in both of my links on my TikTok and my Instagram. That's where this episode is going to be found at, guys. There's other episodes. Our goal with this podcast is to be a voice for the people, to add value to you, free 99, free of charge. We want you to be better. We want you to benefit. We get people on here who can make millionaires.
Yes.
So that way you don't feel so damn hopeless out there. You got options. You're getting out one day, and it's going to be one day soon. Click the link in my bio, schedule a call. The call is free. The change will last you a lifetime.
And guys, you guys know where to find me. You guys can simply click on the link in the bio. Go to my TikTok, go to my Instagram, go to my Facebook, Ramos_Capital. If you have any real estate related questions, because essentially if you reach out to Caden, right, you want to ensure that you start making all that money that you're going to be making into actual tangible assets. I am your real estate guy. I will continue to be your real estate guy. Make sure that you guys reach out to me, Ramos_Capital. Go to the link in the bio. Ensure that you click to set up a phone consultation, and I will 100% take care of you. I'll see you guys in the next one.